Hello, everyone. This is Michael Wehar broadcasting here from Swarthmore College's WSRN 91.5 FM. If you haven't heard us in a while, just to remind you, our phone number is 610-690-5700. You're always welcome to give us a call. Tonight, we have a special guest, Erfan. And the topic for tonight's show is going to be, what is it like moving to a new place? So Erfan, it's really great to have you. If you could just briefly introduce yourself, that would be really great.
Alrighty then. Hey everybody. Thanks Mike for introducing me. I'm Erfan, by the way. The way to pronounce my name would be, I would say, you can say like you're fun. Like you're a fun guy, but just say you're fun, but quick. And that's how you pronounce my name. So you're fun. Yeah. So I'm here when I am not in this radio station. I like to meet with friends and do fun things like ice cream or trivia, or I would be working at work, I guess, and talking with my family and watching funny videos. So that's about me.
Well, thank you very much for that great introduction, Erfan. So our first question, so we're going to dive right in. Our first question is, how did you happen to move to the Philadelphia area, and how long ago was that?
The thing is, it was about March, so I would say, okay, before I go back, that was probably around last December. I was working back in my university called Texas A&M in College Station, Texas. Go Aggies. It was a pretty good environment in terms of there are some supporting people, but it was, for me personally, it was a bit challenging since the supervisor I was working on, or the general work area, was a bit hard for me to handle. But so at that time, was trying to find a change, and I wasn't even aware that I'm gonna be somewhere in Pennsylvania. I was actually more looking to like places in Massachusetts or something, because I was looking to go into the industry, since I decided that I was just want to move from academia to an industry area, and I started applying. So that's why most of my applications I placed was in Massachusetts area. But one of them apparently happened to be in Pennsylvania. And then I just did interviews. And this took a while, but I got an offer to work in Pennsylvania at that pharmaceutical industry. And they really liked me. So they just extended the offer pretty fast manner. And then that was in March. No, that was in February, beginning of February. So I was like, well, I guess I have to move now. But a lot of my folks back home were thinking like, well, it's in the north, it's a totally different place from the south, or in Texas, or there was a funny story. I think when I was in lab, and then I told this one girl I used to work with that I'll be moving to this Pennsylvania, or this in the north, to work in the industry. And then I asked her like, hey, if you were to be offered this lucrative, or this job with like a lot of, which pays like double your salary, like, would you move? She was like, no. So we just laughed in the office. But yeah, but there were like, like there was another friend who thought in a pessimistic way, like, that people in the north, I guess, wasn't that friendly, or they're just to themselves. And then, there are some, my dad, and there are others who are like, you never know the people. Like, when I first came from Bangladesh, I wasn't originally born here. I was born in Bangladesh, and I came here around 11 years old. It was a leap of faith, but we found good people here and bad people here. So I just had the same sentiment, and I just decided to that I'm gonna be adventurous as I'm always am, and then I'm just gonna go with it.
Well, I really like to hear that you made a change, and it can be quite good sometimes to make a change. And the other thing I was going to say, so you got the offer in February, is that right? When did you actually arrive here?
So I arrived here around March 7th. So my supervisor was nice enough to give me a month to pack up and everything. But the thing is that I wish that I believe like that month was just enough. Like if it was less than that, it would be like really hard because I had to like find the logistics of what to take and what not to take. Like I was even thinking about driving all the way down from Texas to Pennsylvania with my car, and then and then we thought about like because I really liked the bed I was sleeping in. Because I had this memory from mattress bed, and I really loved it because it has this cool memory from gel, and that was like the first bed I bought like with my college, with my money, with my first job. Because before that, I used to sleep in a mattress, like a college student. Yeah, that had a lot of meaning. I mean, you can ask my friends back there, and they would know. And I really tried hard to get my bed.
So Erfan, again, he moved from Texas to the Philadelphia area in March, and he's telling us about his experience, and this is really great. And we're going to go on to the next question here. What place do you call home, and how would you define home?
Yeah. So I mean, if I were to tie back to that bed thing, yeah, I mean, it felt. I mean, I mean, at that time, I was just settled as home, inside a building in a bed, and that would be where I would de-stress every day at work. And then it's like the definition of home is like it's like it's kind of vague. I mean, you can, I mean, for a lot of my life, I moved around. But I feel like that it's where you can just de-stress and just relax and be yourself. So I could say it's where it is right now, in a way.
So I think that was pretty interesting how you described home as a place where you de-stress and can relax. And you started to answer my next question, which was going to be if you call Philadelphia your home now, or how long it might take for you to start calling Philadelphia your home, or maybe it never will be your home.
I would say the future is just, I don't know. It's hard to say what's in the future. But I mean, there are some things about Philly. I mean, I don't actually live in Philly. I actually live an hour away from Philly, which is like in Morgantown, which is in the Amish country, which is definitely, I mean, for most of my life, I lived in big cities, except until now, where I live in a place that is surrounded by cornfields and people dressed up in 1800 clothing. So, but I found things here that I really like, and I feel settled. I mean, as of now, with the friends I meet or interesting people I meet every day or here and then. So I mean, it's yeah. I mean, I'm liking it so far.
Well, I'm very glad to hear you're liking it, and I'm sorry about that. So you're living in Morgantown, and but you venture down here pretty frequently, and that's still not that far away. It's an hour away. One of the questions I was going to ask is, what are some of the tasks or chores or things you had to do before you actually came here to make this move happen? If you could say anything about the moving process, that would help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I have to go back to the bed part, when I was trying to think about it. I mean, that meant a lot, but I was trying my hardest to how am I gonna pull this thing? And if I like move in, that's gonna cost me more money. So I was like, well, I might as well just not. But I'll just go ahead and rather buy another bed. But it had a lot of meaning, so I just left it back in my apartment. But then I just tried. I had to find this towing company who's gonna tow my car away and transport my car to Pennsylvania. And then I was able to make this deal of packing all my stuff in as much as possible inside my car. And then I was some sort of negotiation where I could get a flat rate instead of per pound thing. So which kind of worked out for a good price in my budget. And then I know I have to do something about my apartment. Find this other tenant, which is another story. She was only there for a month, so that was a big story. But yeah, I did that to find a tenant who I didn't trust for after a month. And then tell my boss eventually, and then you know tell goodbyes to my friends and everybody, and then and then I decided to make cut the ticket, buy a plane ticket instead of like driving up there. So yeah, that was something, but it was hard.
I think I think you covered a lot of things there. Saying goodbyes, actually getting people to help you physically move things, and finding an apartment. When you get the apartment, finding roommates and dealing with situations that might come up. So that was I think that was a really good summary. And the next thing I was going to ask about, what challenges are you facing now, soon after the move? Maybe this is related to making friends or adapting to life here or adapting to your job, or maybe it's something else. Could you touch on any of those challenges?
Well, I feel like every challenge is like an opportunity or something. It's how you look at it. Like Forrest Gump would say, life is like I don't know. Or there's this quote, like something about like life gives you lemons, so either you make lemonade or something. I think maybe about meeting people. What I first did was, I did this. I installed this app called Meetup. Since I don't know anybody in Pennsylvania, like I just literally Googled how to meet people in a new place, and I think that popped up, and then and I was really pleasantly surprised. So I just reached out to groups as well, and then I just ventured out there to meet people because that's the person I am. But not everybody's like or I wouldn't even describe myself as extroverted. I would say in the middle. But if you're like an introverted or super introverted, that's fine. But everybody has their own ways to adapt in a new environment. So I guess that was my way of adapting here. But then some challenges, obviously. There's something that Texas offers that I really miss here, and then something that this place offer that I definitely don't want to leave, or I feel like I might regret if I leave. Like for example, like if in Texas, we have like big highways. Like that makes life super convenient. Like you can in Houston, you can take the I-45, and that literally connects the whole Houston. Like you can just go anywhere in Houston with that. So but here it's just like highways are not as accessible, and you gotta do back roads a lot of the time. So it makes my morning drive a bit adventurous, with the ups and downs of the hills as I drive by, and jaggedy roads and all that, sudden breaks and whatnot, as you can imagine. But some things I really got to experience here is like the local fresh vegetables and fruits from my Amish and Maronite stores, and I got to eat like the homemade bread and strawberry jams and peach jams that I didn't get to have back in Texas. I wouldn't get this like freshly made jam that has a really good taste. Like I never had I have a newfound satisfaction of a jam and bread like I never had before, and then also like local like ice cream and milk from local farms. In Texas, you raise cows to make steaks, but you guys here, make have milks and ice cream. So, yeah, I would definitely enjoy it, and the cheesesteaks. So, you get it there. But I do miss the steaks back in Texas, so they were good.
Well, I think that was really great to hear about some of those things that are very memorable about Texas, as well as some things you're starting to care about here. So the last thing I was going to ask you about is, what advice do you have to someone who's about to move somewhere new? This is especially relevant to some of our students. I mean, some of our students are going to graduate in the near future, and a lot of students who end up graduating move somewhere else. Not always, but often. And do you have any advice for people who are moving, or tips, suggestions?
Well, I would say, I can talk from my I'll be sensitive in terms of people who are extroverted and introverted, and I understand the differences. So I'll try to give a wholesome answer. I would say that you should just be open to possibilities. Like, the phrase "never judge a book by the cover" goes a long way. Like, if I personally were to believe all the negative things back, let's say back in Texas about the North or whatnot, then I probably had a second doubt, or like moving here. So you just want to have an open mind and see how it plans out, and always have this attitude, like a positive attitude, that if life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Like, if something, say, negative happens, you can always make a positive out of it. So it's yeah. So you just you don't have to be like me, I guess, like go and meet people. Maybe you are the type who likes to play video games or something, or I don't know, board games. Everybody has their way, and if you're really passionate and if you really want something, you'll find your way. But I would say just be open to things, like, because you never know what you're gonna do. Like, life is like a box of chocolate.
Well, I think that's really awesome to hear. You have such a positive attitude, and I'm sure that positive attitude has really helped you get through some of these challenges. And thank you so much for that advice. So again, just to recap, we had Erfan here. He moved from Texas to the Morgantown area, not too far from Philadelphia. And we're just really excited and appreciate that he was able to make a stop here on the radio station and talk to us about what it was like moving somewhere new. And so we just want to say thank you so much, Erfan.
Oh, my pleasure.
And just to remind you, this is Michael Wehar broadcasting here from Swarthmore College's WSRN 91.5 FM. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we're going to sign off for today.